Today we will be creating a lace back for the Tulip Hi-Cut panty. First, you will want to print out your back pattern piece and tape it over some paper. Mark the seam allowances on the gusset and the side seam. Next, you'll want to mark a straight line from the bottom of the side seam to the bottom of the gusset seam. Continue the straight line into the seam allowances. This will make the cutting easier and the pointy ends of the seams will be trimmed during sewing. Add 1/4 inch seam allowance to the center back. And if you need a reminder, you can add a note along the straight edge along a line low point of lace. Your final pattern piece will be cut to lace. Be sure to mirror the pattern pieces so that you have a symmetrical lace pattern. Now for the sewing. With right sides together, sew the center back seam of the back with a stretch stitch. Here I used a lightning stitch. Finger press the seam allowance to one side and top stitch with zigzag stitch. Trim the excess seam allowance. Sew the front to the gusset layers, following the instructions in the pattern. Here you can see my graded seam allowance. Apply fold-over elastic to the leg openings. Sew the front and gusset unit to the back, right sides together with a straight stitch. Finger press the seam allowance towards the back and top stitch with zigzag stitch. Trim the excess seam allowance. With right sides together, sew one side seam. Finger press the seam allowance towards the back. Apply fold-over elastic along the waistline. Sew the remaining side seam, and if desired you can add bar tacks at the side seams to compress the elastics. Trim away the excess elastic, and enjoy.